My dear fellow brothers and sisters, welcome to another Tuesday night shiur. I wasn't here for 2 weeks. 2 weeks I wasn't here. My father took my place. Baruch Hashem, I just came back from Eretz Yisrael, the Holy Land. We stopped by Ukraine a little bit. I'll tell you a nice story, All my life, self-experience, you can even ask all my friends, all my life, we always planned our life. I remember growing up, we had a very weird class. When I was in high school, we was a group of friends, but we were very, very close. Until today, we're very, very close. We graduated years ago, and we still talk all the time. And we always planned our life. Like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, and you know what happened at the end? None of that happened. It's all one big dream. It was a dream. It was a dream that didn't come true. But it's good that it didn't come true. But one thing did come true. What was the dream? A lot of us in our youth always wanted very, 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 very much to help the community. We were that class that were like the Maccabim, where we're like, that's it, we're gonna stand up and we're gonna be like the partisans. We're gonna fight. We're gonna fight everyone around us to do the right thing. And Baruch Hashem, a big chunk of the class today is doing exactly as I'm saying. Is fighting L'man Hashem, L'man Shechina. L'Shem they're doing. L'akama Shechinta Ma'afara. L'Shem is Lamed, Shin, Mem. Now L'Shem has a lot of names, a lot of translations. One of the translation is that it's a stone. It's a special colored stone of a certain tribe. I forgot right now of which tribe. That used to be in the Kohen Gadol. It starts. It also the Reshei Tevot, the beginning letters of L'Shem starts Lamed for L'Akama, Shin Shechinta, Mem Me'afra, to raise the Shechina from the dirt. Since the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, the Shechina is dwelling in the ground, and our job in our life as doing mitzvot as Jewish people is to bring up the Shechina. How do we do that? By mitzvot, by Torah, by doing the right thing, saying brachot, washing our hands, wearing a kippah, going with tzitzit, not being embarrassed that you're a Yid. It's a very big thing to walk proudly as a Jew. It's a very big Kiddush Hashem. You're saving yourselves from a lot of embarrassment. I'll tell you an example. My wife, she works as a special ed, so she takes house cases, school cases, whatever the case is. Today, actually, she told me that one of her families that she works with is a Goya. She's 40 years old. She just had her first kid at 40 years old, Shem Yirachem. And a Jewish woman has to dress tzanoah. Tzanoah means she has to be all covered and so on and so forth. So the lady goes to my wife and says, please don't tell me you dress like this also in the summer, with long sleeves and the whole 9 yards. And my wife said, what's the question? How could I not walk like this? And she said, wow, you guys are so primitive, And my wife said something very nice. She told me this. She said, I'm going to ask you a question. When you are going on vacation, what is your vacation like? So she says, we go out to a different, let's say we go to Mexico, we go to the beach, we go tanning, it's so fun, then we go home, go out to a nice steakhouse. And my wife says, you're missing the main chunk of your vacation. What is that? You're fighting with your husband, why in the beach he looked at that girl? And he's fighting with you, why in the beach you were flirting with that guy? That's what happens in your vacation. So at least 50% of the time you're fighting. Why? Because you're not going in a normal humanic way of living. Human-wise, humane is someone has to be reserved. The man has to be reserved for his wife, and his wife has to be reserved to the husband. Now, she said, in our vacation, yeah, maybe we don't go to the beach, but as long as I know that my husband is for me and I'm for my husband, I don't have to worry that his eyes are hopping around. He doesn't have to worry that I'm right now going to flirt. And Dugaya thought for a second, and she's like, he's 100% right. I mean, she's 100% right. That even though they think freedom is good, it's really destruction. Because what is real freedom? You want to know what real freedom is? Real freedom is when you can say no. Why? Prove it. If I'm bound to society, that means I'm a slave. I'm a slave through society. Now, if I'm a free person, I can say no. I can say, I'm not doing it. Why? Because I said so. I can go against the reality. And that's called being free. And a lot of people have that misconception. They think, oh, that's you're primitive. I'm not primitive. I go by a certain code of law, and I can live my life like this. You know, the everything in the world is fake. Everything is fake, except one thing: the Torah Kedusha. Maharaya, what's the proof? I'm not telling you this because I'm a fanatic. I'm actually the opposite. You guys are fanatic. You guys are fanatic because you don't believe this. And I'll explain to you why. Tell me someone that lived 300 years ago, 400 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Someone, Papa, some historian or some name of a not Jewish guy. Thomas Edison, right? If Thomas Edison is gonna right now get out of his grave, right? Is he gonna know what to do with the world? He will be so confused. He won't know. He will be considered a stupid person. Yeah, in the beginning he was an inventor. He did such great things, but he was right now. If he comes back from the grave, he's considered a tupoi. Nastayashi with Pichat from Forsos High School, #1 tupoi. That's what's gonna be. But if you take right now the Rambam and you bring him back from the dead, he's still gonna be smarter than any rabbi that's living now. Why? Because the Torah doesn't change. The Torah, what was, is. It is. He can get up and he can give us a shiur right now. And it doesn't make a difference in which generation you lived. You'll still understand what he's talking about. Why? Because we're living the same thing. That's how you know it's not fake. It's not an illusion. You bring Alexander the Great right now, he's going to be lost. What's going on? Where are the donkeys? Where are the horses? Where's the swords? Where's the fighting? Where are the elephants? Hey, Habibi, welcome to the 21st century. He's going to be also considered as a boy. Let's say you bring Moshe Rabbeinu, one of the most primitive people that ever lived, over 3,000 years ago, a guy with a long white beard, with a cane, with a stick. He's going to come to the shul and I'll give you shiur Torah. You'll be, wow, what happened? Because we're learning the same Torah that we've been learning for over 3,000 years. That's the Torah. People don't understand this. People are so dumb. They're sucked into society. It's disgusting.
How do you get out?
There's nothing to get out. You hit a reality. The reality is the wood is the wood and the Torah is the Torah. The same way how the wood never changed, the tree never changed. Never changed. Since the creation of the world until today, the tree grows in the same cycle. You take a seed, you put it into the ground, and it grows the same way the Torah. Everything else around the tree changes. But the tree itself doesn't change. There's nothing to get out. It's just to hit reality. You just didn't hit reality yet. The train didn't hit you. I hope after today it hits you. But that's beside the point. I hope the reality came to everyone. The reality has to hit. Eventually, it's going to hit. Now we're going to go weiter in the shiur. I'm going to tell you this story. You know, when I heard this story, I was mamash b'dmaot. I couldn't stop crying. Give him some Sprite. Take some of my Sprite.
Oh, it's fine.
No, it's okay. Take some. I want to give you some. Pour in this cup. Pour in this cup. Don't worry about it. Sit down. Nothing to be shy about. Oh, this place, we're a family over here. There's Coca-Cola behind you if you want also. Nothing to be shy about. We're all a family. I didn't drink from the cap if you're worried. Always in the cup.
You have some more for me?
No, I don't. If only you can have my cup.
We're a family. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
Okay, fine. Let's continue. We don't understand. Before I'm gonna say what I wanted to start,
You said there was a story.
I wanna first say the story. We don't understand. Excuse me, how privileged we are. We're mamasha, a generation, a very disgusting generation. We have all the luxuries in the world. A poor man, a poor person nowadays, has more luxury than a rich man 1,000 years ago. Just try to understand what I just told you. A poor man in the 21st century has more luxury than a rich person 1,000 years ago.
How?
Just the freedom a poor man has, a rich person didn't even have that 1,000 years ago. And now your imagination can take you wherever you want. But I want to get to the story that I really want to emphasize on. In Auschwitz, in the Holocaust, which was in Warsaw, Poland, there was open.
Can I open this one?
Open whatever you want. Hurry up. In Auschwitz,
This one open or this one?
they're all open. Just hurry up because I'm in the middle of saying the
Can I
shiur.
open this one? Or can I-
Okay.
Honestly, bro, does that make a difference?
Ali, 100 people. Focus on that one. See what
Yeah, the whole world's gonna see you. I can hear you.
Jago.
Shh, guys. In Auschwitz, there was a rabbi. His name was Rabbi Tzvi Hersh Meislich. That was his name. For the sake of the story, we're going to call him Rabbi Tzvi. This rabbi in the Holocaust, he saw 7 of his kids die in front of him and his wife. Do you understand what I just told you? You don't understand. He lost 7 of his kids and his wife, and he was still sane. He was still normal. One time, he was standing on a porch, and he sees a whole bunch of kids lining up, and he hears in Germany how the Germans are saying to one another, time to round up the Jewish boys. All the young boys gonna go to the left, and all the big boys are gonna go to the right. We're not a babysitting center here. We don't have time and money to worry about little kids. Automatically he knew what's gonna happen. Took a stender. The Nazis took a stender. You see what this is? This camera's on. They took a stender. It was a little higher. Back in Europe it was like this high. Berg. They took the stenders, the Nazis, and they put it in the middle of the lineup. Here's the lineup. They put it in the middle. And they said to the boys, whoever walks under it has to go to the left, and whoever hits it down with his head, that means he's high enough to hit the stender down, goes to the right. The left meaning they're going to die. The right meaning they're going to get those nice stripe outfits, and they're going to work in the ghetto in Auschwitz. And it's going one to the right, one to the left, one to the right, to the right, to the left. And he's seeing these little boys, these 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-old little kids walking One's going to die, one's going to live. Now the kids, they're starting now to understand what's going on. So what do? They start to go on their tippy toes. Start to go on the tippy toes to hit the stender in order the stender should go on the floor. And the Nazi understood what they're doing, and right away he took out his gun and he shot a kid while he was walking. He said, "They didn't teach you in yeshiva not to lie?" A Nazi saying that. They didn't teach you in your yeshiva not to lie? And so on and so forth, all the kids were going. The rabbi saw this, he was getting into tears. He went back to his bunker. Literally, an hour later, listen to this part of the story. He hears a knock on his room. Who's there? An elderly guy. And he goes, "Rabbi, I have a question." What's the question? "Rabbi, I have a son. And my son right now is under you. He's there with another 1,300 kids that are going to die tomorrow. Rabbi, I have a little money left. A little money, I have enough left to bribe one of the Gestapos, those Jewish cops. I have enough money to give him that he should switch my child for another Jew. Am I allowed to do that? Can I switch my son to save him and make sure that another Jew dies instead?" Imagine the questions that were going on at the time of the Holocaust. We're worried about why no one added us in Instagram. They had problems. Should I save my life? Should I give money to save my life or my son's life or not? I don't know if we would be able to handle this test. Who would be able to handle such a test? He said, "I don't want to be over Yisur Torah. I don't want to go against the Torah. Can I save my son or I can't save my son?" And the rabbi's there. He's shaking and he's crying. He said, "How are you asking me this question?" He said, "I have no books. I have nothing. I cannot answer you." He said, "Rabbi, yes or no?" The rabbi said, "You have to come back. I need to think." The rabbi goes in his room and he starts crying in bitter tears. He starts crying for a good hour. He starts crying. The father knocks on the door. He comes and he says, he sees the rabbi's eyes bloodshot red. And he starts crying with the rabbi. And he understood that the answer is no. You can't save your son's life in order to kill another Jew. And he started crying with the rabbi. The rabbi was crying with him. And they were crying for a good hour. And the rabbi writes this in his book. He has a book that he wrote, Questions and Answers of the Holocaust. It's called Ohavei Hashem, the Beloved of God. And he writes in this book that he went, before they put on the gas to kill these kids, he went to one of the Gestapos and he said, "It's Erev Rosh Hashanah. It's Erev Rosh Hashanah. Can I go inside and blow the shofar for the kids? Can I give them a little bit life before you take away their own life?" And the Gestapo said yes. And he let the rabbi in, and Rav Tzvi was there, and he sees 1,300 kids. Guys, do you know what that number is? You see 500 people, wow, 1,300 little kids, and they're running up to him. They're like, Rabbi, it's before Rosh Hashanah. You want to give us a little Divrei Torah? And he's writing this in his book. He's writing this. It's not a made-up story. And he goes and he's saying to himself, what am I going to tell these kids? Am I going to tell them that they're going to die? What am I going to tell them? And he gives them a Divrei Torah. He gives him good hour, 2 hours. He blows the shofar for the kids, and right before he leaves, a kid comes up to him and says, Rabbi, one more divrei Torah. One more, please. One more! And the rabbi gives one more. And before he leaves, he starts crying and he says, Oy lanu miyom adin. He gets out. And the father comes and goes to the rabbi and says, Rabbi, did you see my son? Did you see my son? My son was there. Did you see him? Imagine this is what's going on the parent's brain in the time of the story of the Holocaust. And the rabbi's there. And he says, I saw your son. And your son asked me to give another divrei Torah. And he wanted to learn more. And they all knew that they're going to die. They all knew that this is their last couple minutes left on this earth. The rabbi said when he woke up in the morning, he came out of his room, and what did he smell? He smelled the ovens on. He saw the ashes of those kids in the air. And what are we doing? What are we crying about? Nonsense? What car am I driving today? Why? How come she didn't say hi to me? How come this? How come that? What kind of nonsense? What kind of generation we live in? Selfish, disgusting. The Holocaust was only 70 something years ago. Nothing. Nothing! Your grandparents lived that time. They lived it! We lived it! And that's the story I wanted to tell you before I'm going to start the shiur. Is that we should be happy for what we have. We should be grateful. We should be grateful for the suit, for the jacket, for the shoes that we're wearing, for the pizza, for the soda that we have today. You know what they ate in the Holocaust? Potato peels. Not potato. Potato peels they ate. I don't want to eat this. Why? What happened to it? I don't know. It's left over from yesterday. What? Give that guy a smack across his face. Don't feed him for 2 days and ask him then what he wants to eat. It was left over for 2 days. What kind of generation are we in? Everything garbage. 1, 2, 3. Garbage, 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 garbage. We're better than that. Well, we are better than that. We have to live. We have to end this nonsense game that we live. We live in an illusion, a fakeness. We live in our own reality. That's the problem. When we will learn to get out, pop our bubble in our brain, pop it, and hit the reality of God, our life will be much better. Now that's the story I wanted to start the shiur with. When I went to Eretz Israel, before I went to Eretz Israel, we stopped in Ukraine for a little bit. The plan was, purposely we stopped in Ukraine. First of all, the ticket was much cheaper. Second of all, we said we want to go to the Baal Shem Tov. A lot of people gave me names and different things. I said, as Hakarat HaTov, thank you to all these people that sponsored and helped with the flight and for the shiur and for the whole thing. I'm going to go stop in Ukraine came out a little bit less than a day, around 18 hours we stopped, and from there we went straight to Bardichev. Now, I don't think you understand. The car ride was faster than the speed of light. That means I think I had to say Gomel every 200 feet. Because the way the driver was driving was unhumane. I'm not joking with you, it was unhumane. The roller coasters of Six Flags is nothing compared to that car ride. I'm not joking with you. That's how we were driving. It was like 100 miles per hour behind the truck, like 2 feet away, and sliding through, going around it like on 100 miles per hour. And it was like, do we say Gomel now? Tfilat HaDerech? Is it better to smoke weed right now? To hallucinate? To knock out? To get drunk maybe? Because we didn't know what was happening. Okay, so we went to Rav Levi Yitzchak Barditchev because you have to understand, from one rabbi to another rabbi, it's like 3 hour, 4 hour ride. It's not like half an hour. It's far. So we went to Rav Levi Yitzchak. We davened there for a little bit. After Rav Levi Yitzchak Barditchev, we went straight to the Baal Shem Tov in Mezhibush. And when we went to the Baal Shem Tov, it was a beautiful feeling. Before we went to the Baal Shem Tov, we decided to go to his mikvah. Mari Rabbi Isai, if you think you felt cold water in your life, he never felt cold water. This water was so cold. I just put my pinky, my finger of my hand just to feel it. It was already turning blue, and I was like, "Is it worth it to go in?" And I'm like, "I'm never gonna come here. At least for another half a year. I'm not gonna come." I tried going at least once a year now, since last year. I said, "Okay, I'm gonna go in." And me, Rabbi Bachayev, Rabbi Levi, and I. We went to the mikvah, but took a little time to go in. Who's going in first? Whatever the case was, because it was very scary. Like fighting, jumping in, and it was interesting. Of course, everyone was with respect, his own thing. No one like whatever, but it was that cold. It was that cold, not big. It was that cold.
Who's first, Rabbi?
It's irrelevant who went first. So we came out of the mikvah, and then we went to the Baal Shem Tov. After the Baal Shem Tov, we went back to the airport, and from the airport we went to Eretz Yisrael. Now, Rabbi Isai, we had a very big siyata d'shmaya. Siyata d'shmaya means help from God, and I'll explain to you why. When we went to the trip to go to Israel, we didn't even gather enough money to pay for the flight for us three. We got very cheap tickets, Yisham. And we said to ourselves, we're only taking out of pocket whatever's left for the flight and for a car. The car cost us literally pennies. We got a very good deal. And we didn't prepare for ourselves a place to sleep, a place to eat, no Shabbos, no nothing. We said we're going there blind. We're going there, we're having faith. Now, why was it good I went to Ukraine first? Because you always hear these stories of faith by who? By the Hasidic masters. You know? You always hear this faith, and the rabbi did this. You don't hear it by the Sephardim. By the Hasidic masters, you hear it. So when we went to Ukraine, we got a good hachana, a preparation for our journey in Israel. Like God said, listen, you want siyata d'shmaya on your trip, you got to first go to Ukraine. You got to go see the Baal Shem. After you see the Baal Shem Tov, when you go to Eretz Yisrael, that's when you're going to have siyata d'shmaya. We landed in Israel. Now, we're starving. We didn't eat. And we are bugging out, We're going crazy by the time we got the car and we got the phone, and it took some time. Where did we go? We went straight to eat something. After we ate something, we said, listen, we're in Eretz Yisrael, we have to go to Yerushalayim, we need to go to the Kotel, we need to daven. It was already getting very late. It was already time for Chatzot Layla, Tikkun Chatzot. We don't even know where we're sleeping. I thought I found a guy. The guy at the end told me no, whatever. He didn't answer the phone. It was a balagan. We're driving. Out of nowhere, one of Rabbi Levi's students. He's a much elderly guy. Calls Rabbi Levi and he says, "Where are you staying tonight?" And Rabbi Levi says, "The truth is, as of now, we're sleeping by the Kotel." He said, "Okay, let me see if I can help you." Calls him back after 30 minutes. "I got you a hotel for tonight in a hotel called the Jerusalem Gate." We got excited. Wow. Hashem already showing us help, We go to the hotel. We thought nice 3 beds are waiting for us. We go. one bed over there. And I was like, Habibi. 3 men can't sleep in one bed. So what do we do? Rabbi Bachayev and I really wanted to go to the Kotel. Really, Rabbi Levi was driving and he was very, very tired. He said, I can't go today. I'm going to go tomorrow morning. He slept. Me and Rabbi Bachayev, this was already 12:30 at night, 1 o'clock. We said we're going to go to the Kotel. We took the car. We drove to. There's a mall next to the Kotel. It's called the Mamila Mall. We figured out that it was closed, so we found a different parking. We ended up in a Muslim area. Rabbi said, "Don't even ask me." Our trip, half the time we were by the Muslims. That's a miracle on its own. How nothing happened to us. We park next to the Aravim, not knowing that we're next to them. We walk to the kotel, and we're there for at least 4 hours. We're davening, and it was like a magnet. Literally the first night I slept in the kotel because I didn't go home until 4 o'clock in the morning, and we were already up on our feet already at 8 o'clock. We had to be back in the kotel. We had to go daven shacharit. So we went back to the hotel. We figured out how to sleep. We got a cot, one cot. There was not even enough room for 2 cots. Whatever the case was, we went to the shower. It was good relaxation. Now we go to the kotel in the morning. Now, of course, I did kriya. There's a halakha. Someone that wasn't in the kotel for 30 days has to rip his shirt on his left side next to his heart, like he would do for his parents, because the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. So I was very excited to do that. In the same time, I was very sad, but in the same time, I was very excited to do that because I wanted to be mishtatef. I wanted to join in with the tsar of the Shekhinah. So I went to the kotel. I ripped my shirt. I did tikkun chatzot, whatever the case was. And in the morning, we went to the kotel. Now we went to Eretz Yisrael for one reason: to go to look for yeshivot for our students, for other people, for students in the shiur, students in the yeshiva. We said we're going to look at yeshivas. Okay. We went to the kotel. We finished praying shacharit. Now we don't know what to do. Why? Because in the same time, we never called any school before telling them that we're coming. So imagine how this whole thing played out. I didn't even tell you. I booked the tickets. 3 days later was our flight. So imagine how it wasn't like we planned it a month before. It was all just in the air. Yes, no, maybe, how. We got permission from our wives. We didn't even budge. Literally, half an hour later, all the tickets were booked. Before they would say no, we take it back. Sorry, it's booked. Habibi, done deal. We're going. It was too fast to even retract. So we finished praying shacharit, and we're like, Esh HaTorah is over there, Nativ Aryeh is over there, Porat Yosef is over there. No, they're not next to the kotel. They're in Yerushalayim, a little further, much further now. And we're not sure what to do. So we see a boy over there, and he's davening word for word. We said right away, he's for sure a yeshiva boy, without a doubt. So Rabbi Levi goes and says, which yeshiva are you from? I'm from Eish. Oh, very good. When you finish davening, you're going to introduce us to Eish HaTorah. Okay. This was our appointment to Eish HaTorah. Telling you. Blind eye. We walk into Eish HaTorah. Suddenly you see these rabbis come in. They're like, who are you? We're from a yeshiva in New York. We came to look at the yeshiva. Automatically, okay. They showed us the whole building. They have such a beautiful building. My rabbis, let me tell you something. Their property, they bought it for $1 and 40 something. They bought it for $1 because no one wanted to live next to the kotel at that time. Now that property is at least, without exaggeration, their property is at least $45 million. 45, at least. Their property is humongous. They have such a view of the Kotel HaMaravi. It's insane. You can see actually the Azar of the Kodesh Kodeshim through their view. That's how beautiful their view is. Okay, I'm not going to talk about it. We were there for a good hour and a half. We were in the yeshiva. We spoke. We saw. We did our investigations that we came to do. From there, now we said, let's not waste our day. Oh, we're happy. We went to one yeshiva. Oh, wow, we did what we came for. No, we have another 10, 15 yeshivas to go to. We had a list. From there, we went to a yeshiva right across the kotel, another yeshiva, which was I got very inspired myself. It's called Nativ Aryeh. We went to Nativ Aryeh. We were there for good, even longer than Eish. We were talking. We saw the kids, and we interacted with the people. It was very warm. You feel like a warmth in the yeshiva. It wasn't like, oh, you're Sephardi or you're on. It was like, come, let's go. We didn't eat breakfast. We don't know what we're gonna eat lunch. It happened to be that we ate lunch in the yeshiva. Okay, it was a good lunch actually. We sat, we ate. We knew our motto was we eat our last meal like it's our last meal. Right now we're eating lunch. Forget about it. For the next 8 days, we're not eating food. So eat this food enough for 8 days. We took some apples with us on the way, some oranges. We put it in our talit bag. We said Shalom Alach Nafshi, and we left. Rabbi said we lived like the Baal. I'm not joking. We lived like the Baal Shem Tov for these days. I'm telling you, we don't even have time to unpack our luggage. We didn't even need to pack really so much when we left because we were already all packed when we left back home. So what happened? From that yeshiva, we went to another yeshiva. I think we went to Lev Aaron. After then, we went to Migdash. We did sivuv of different yeshivas. At the end, we went to for 3 days. For 3 days, we went to different yeshivas. On the 4th day, we finished with most of the yeshivas. Now we had more or less some free time. We still want to go to 2-3 different yeshivas, but it wasn't such a rush. I decided to go to my Rebbe in Eretz Yisrael. I have a very big Chashuv Rav, actually very big Mekubal, doesn't make a difference. I went to his house, and when I was speaking to him, at the same time, he was giving us some advice. We left from him. I needed to look how Hashem plays the game, whatever Rabbi say. What is Siyata Dishmaya? Oh, where did we sleep the second night? Oh, I've got to tell you! When we went to Netiv Aryeh, they asked us, where are you sleeping? We're like, we don't know. We're sleeping, you know where? 5-minute walk. You see the Kotel? You see that real estate that no one owns? It belongs to every single Jew. Yeah? We're sleeping there. We're going to put our heads down and we're going to say Tikkun Chatzot and fall asleep like saying Tikkun Chatzot. And the son of the Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Bina's son, came and said, what? He said, my father has an apartment in the old city of Jerusalem. What is that? Wherever the wall is, where all the old... It's a 5-minute walk from the Kotel. He said, I'm going to give you the key. You can sleep there until Erev Shabbat. Until Friday. Until Friday, this is for you. No, until Thursday. Sorry, Friday we didn't sleep. Until Thursday, this is for you. Wow. Next 2 days now we have a place to sleep. You don't understand. If you would have to rent that place, it would cost you at least a night more than $1,000. He gave it to us. He said, here's the key, go sleep there. He didn't know us. Who are we? Maybe we were thieves or something. He gave us the key. He tells how a Jew trusts another Jew. It's like an automatic feeling. I don't need to ask anything. You're a Yid, you look like a Yid. Here, I trust you. This happened. This is fresh story. This came out of the oven. This is a fresh story out of 2 weeks ago, a week ago. This is not some Baba Mice that you hear from your great grandmother. She tells you in Sayuz, Tagville, this is fresh. This is not no Cheterchi, no Samarkand stories. This is fresh American Israel stories. So what happens after? Okay, I'm gonna skip forward back to the 3rd day. I think it was Wednesday, Thursday. We're getting ready. I went to meet my Rebbe, I told you, and over there, my father told me to pick a package up for him. When I went to pick up a package, there was a very well-connected guy that was doing a favor for my father. And he came to us and he said, why did you come to Israel? We told him, and he said, you guys are all stupid. We're like, why? He said, go to the Gdolei Olam in America. Tell them what you guys do. What's your yeshiva? In order to get a meeting with a rabbi, you need to at least in months in advance make phone calls. Months. He's like, what months? Call them, nudge them, bother them. We're now dumbfounded. Why? You have 3 American guys, don't know anything. Yeah, we know the language somewhat, but other than that, we don't know anything. We go there, and we take all the phone numbers of all these rabbis. Phone numbers that would take you years to collect, we got it like that. This guy, I don't know how he had all the numbers of all the Gdolei Olam.
There or here?
Of over there. And I, you guys saw the pictures of all these rabbis. I'm gonna one by one tell you all the names. Now, the first rabbi we went to was Rav Mutzafi. Now, in order to get to Rav Mutzafi, it's not that simple. Let me tell you what happened. He gives a shiur, I think in Chulon, in Tel Aviv area. Now, we called one of his gabbais. We said, listen, we need to speak to the rabbi. It's an emergency matter. And he comes and he says, listen, the rabbi doesn't see people. But like we're begging him. He needs to go to shiur. If he likes you, maybe he'll sit with you for a minute. Minute? Okay. The rabbi was running late. He was rushing. Suddenly he comes. He saw three banditi rabbis, hat down. Come, listen. We want to talk to you. I have no time. I'm late to my shiur. He's a very punctual guy. And in the beginning, this rabbi, he has a custom, and whoever comes to cutting hair and this kind of stuff. So he also, one of the guys there's like, go tell him about the yeshiva, and he makes an announcement about the yeshiva. There's a yeshiva called Laman Achai, and also organization Lashem, and so on and so forth, and they help Jewish people. And he said, he after he finished, he said, "You okay? Finished?" We're like, "Yeah." Then Rabbi Levi and Rabbi Babashai said, "Listen, we need to have a one-on-one sit down with him. This is not good. We need hardcore." Now the rabbi is leaving, and he gets in his car, and now his driver is leaving. He said, "The rabbi has no time. You have to understand, when you work for a rabbi, you got to be very rude, because the rabbi himself he's on the clock. He needs to go." Now, if anyone knows me, fire don't work so well. Now listen, what happened? I go into the door. I open the rabbi's. The rabbi's closing the door, and I open it. The rabbi almost fell. I tell you the truth. I open the door, and the driver stops the car, and he starts screaming at me. I said, "Rabbi," in Hebrew, "if we're not gonna sit down, we're literally killing hundreds of Jews. This is called pikuach nefesh, life and death." So the rabbi says, "How can I help you?" I said, "If we sit down with you, you can help us tremendously." Now he felt already guilty. He felt guilty. So what did he say? He said, "Call my gabbai. Tomorrow we'll arrange a meeting." Okay. Close the door. Right away, we called the gabbai. The gabbai said, "Call me in the morning." Comes the morning. We called him. He said, "Come to my house." We sat with him for 2 hours. A rabbi that you need at least months to have a meeting with him, we got him within 24 hours. We got a meeting with him, and we got him to sit with us for 2 hours, to look at all of our pictures in our albums, to talk to us, and to give us a written hamlatza, a written documentation of the yeshiva, because we gave him everything, a whole rundown. That's such, you guys don't understand the miracle. It's like saying, "I want to go meet Trump." It's easier to meet Trump than to meet these rabbis. I'm telling you this right now. We finished with him. We were, first of all, in like 7th heaven. We don't know how this happened. After him, we went to another rabbi. Who was the second rabbi? No. After him, we went to Rav Tzadka or the yeshiva of Porat Yosef. After him, we were finished with the day because we were running around too much. It was a very complicated day. Then we went to, after that, we went to that night, we went to the kotel, and we met a very big mikubal, Rav Yaakov Ades. Now Rav Yaakov Ades doesn't really sit with people. He always
He's kicking everyone out. No? While they're spraying Amida, everyone's trying to get closer.
You paid attention to the video, it's good.
You were there?
You went like this, right?
Yeah, but did you see how at the end he said, "Come here"?
Because you said something.
Yeah.
I
was gonna get there. Now, can I say this story?
Yes.
I see you're getting excited. Next time I have to take you. You guys have to understand something. A good marketer has to know exactly what to say to his client. I know enough, not me, all of the rabbis knew enough about the Gedolei Olam to know what one word he's going to say, and he's going to want to hear more about you. So I knew exactly what Rav Adas wanted to hear. So I said those two, he needs to hear just 2 words. No. I told him 2 words, automatically he said, "Come here." And we spoke for like, it was good enough to speak to him for 30 seconds. He told us what he wanted to tell us, and he let us go. That was that one day. And then we went to Rav Mazuz, we went to Rav Shalom Cohen, we went to Rav Yitzhak Yosef, we went to a lot of rabbis. So I didn't tell you. On Shabbat, what?
What did you tell him?
Oh, I'm not going to say on camera. Maybe after the camera goes, I'll tell you. Now listen, I want you to hear something. On Shabbat, we didn't know where we were staying for Shabbos. Does anyone want to know how we had to end it at the end ended up by one of our very big Talmid Chacham's house? Unbelievable. Rav Mutzafi, when he was with us, he decided to make phone calls for us. Now, for a rabbi to go out of his way to try helping you is that just shows you his greatness. He calls his son. First he asks us, where do you guys staying for Shabbat? We're like, honestly, Rabbi, we're not sure where we're even staying tonight. He calls his son. He said, listen. He said, I have guests. I would have invited you, but my son. He called his son right away. He said, you're going to arrange for them place to sleep. You're going to arrange for them place to eat. And the son said, no problem. And from there, we stayed by his son. Next day, son until the end of the trip, the next 3 days. We had a place to sleep. He found his place to. But I want to show you how Hashem literally, I spend less on the whole trip itself than on the ticket. The ticket cost me more than the whole trip. Just for you to understand.
Wait, what? You spend more when?
I spend more on my ticket, which the ticket cost me around $720, $730, than the whole trip of the food and the sleeping and this. I spend less. Do you understand? Why? Because when I went to Israel, we went on a condition that, listen, God, you got to take care of it. I have no power here. This is not my. It's my country, but it's not my country. Meaning, it's not my Medina. I don't know anything here. The food also, you got to take. And literally, God prepared us food almost every single day. This place, that place, this place, that place. It was unbelievable. Why? Because that's the way we planned our trip. Now imagine we live like that. Now that's hard, no? It's
Yeah.
and you're saying it's impossible.
I mean, at the moment,
A person says it's impossible, he's lacking in faith of God. He's going against one of the principles of the Rambam. How are you gonna wake up? How are you gonna wake up tomorrow?
You don't.
You don't. So then, how come you're all the time trying to arrange yourself to be financially stable? Financially stable doesn't really exist. I'll tell you why. Listen carefully. Let's say someone reaches $2 million, right? If you have $2 million, you're financially stable for life. I want you to know that.
for life.
For life.
Even with the family?
How'd you come
Even
up-
with the family.
And kids?
How'd you
And
come
kid.
up with that?
When don't you become financially stable? When your desires grow with your pocket. I gotta get a Lambo now. Psst. I gotta get a Tesla. Oh, John Madan. I need to get a $3 million house in Jamaica States. Your desires went up. I'm not responsible for your desires, God says. If you started with the beginning, that everything comes from Hashem, you're right, your desires are on me. But if you think you run the world, no problem. I'll give you whatever you want, but for whatever you need. You have to learn to live a life not based on just myself. Oh, I'm living my life for myself. Oh, I run my show. I'm going to get married when I'm 21. I'm going to finish this school. I'm going to get this. Who said so? Who said so? You know how many friends I know, they finished pharmacy and they have no job now. They went to the field too late. Too late. How many of my friends are finishing in the medical field and they're without a job? They're doctors. They have no job. Why? Because they thought this doesn't help. You have to do toba to your brain like this, toba, 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 like that, and pull your ear too. Why? Because you think you run the world, Habibi. I'm telling you, the story that happened to me proved to me is so much more than how much I don't run anything. You live with the faith. You have to live with that. It's very difficult, but you know what? It's very possible. We all have to live like that. Now, Rabbi, I really wanted to start this with you. I'm going to give you an introduction. We're not going to start it today because I was waiting for Yoshu and Eliezer because they really, really, really wanted to do this. They really wanted to do this. What? I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to give you a little introduction. This is what I'm going to give next week. I wanted to give this next week. This introduction this week. Next week, I guess. Whatever. It says Hashem created a man, B'Tselem Elokim, in the image of God. Question mark. What does that mean? God has an image? The Rambam says, if you think for a second that God has an image, you're a kofir beikar, you don't believe in the Torah of Moshe. God doesn't have a nose, He doesn't have an eyes, He doesn't have ears, He doesn't have a hand, He doesn't have a beard. He doesn't have anything physical, He doesn't have. Because once He has something physical, what does that make Him?
Limited.
Exactly. And is God, what?
What does He have?
He's unlimited.
Like,
No, we say light because that's the only thing that we can understand as a unlimited identity. But in generally, God is everything. Your hat, God is it. You know that? If it wasn't for the fact that God is inside that hat, you wouldn't have a hat. Because nothing could live without God.
Is God in unholy things also?
Of course, 100%.
How?
He's even inside the bathroom.
You can't say his name in the bathroom.
That's because that same God that put Himself in the bathroom said that you can't mention my name in the bathroom.
He has 26 names.
He has more. He has 72 names.
Okay, everyone relax with comments.
You understand? So, God is in everything. You know that pizza that Ben Sion is eating? He's inside that pizza. Because if not, that pizza wouldn't exist. It's a little weird to understand, right? But that's the reality. So what does it mean in God created a man B'Tselem Elokim with the image of God? That's the main question that everyone's supposed to have this question. And that's what I wanted to learn with you. This book, you see, when God created the world, He created the world specifically. It's called in the 10 vessels. What are the 10 vessels? There are 10 main sfirot that God created the world. You know how there are different attributes, kindness and sadness and all this kind of stuff. Where does that come from? Where are these emotions coming from?
From God.
Well, what is that exactly? If God didn't invent them, you would never have them. That's why, as much as they're gonna try to make robots with emotions, it will never work, because that's the only thing that's making you and the robot different. The robot can do what you do and 10 times better, but it cannot feel what you feel. Why? Because how can something that's unlimited, which is godliness, be put into a robot which was created from something that is limited, which is a human? Only God, which created man, which He is unlimited, and created us, which is limited, can put in us the feeling of unlimited. I just confused all of you right now.
Our soul is unlimited?
Our soul is not only unlimited, it is unlimited.
What feeling do we have that is unlimited?
Your emotions. Your emotions that you have, it's a backfire of God being inside of you.
So that's something that will backfire Himself.
No, it's a good backfire. That's a proof that God's in you. Maharaya, what's the proof? I have a robot. I created a robot. Artificial robot. Right? Does it have feelings?
No.
Can it do what you do?
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
One has feelings, one doesn't.
That feeling that robot has, that you have and the robot doesn't have, that's the godliness.
What if a person doesn't have feelings?
That's not true. It doesn't exist. I know we'll talk about it later. It doesn't exist. Every human has feelings. There are conditions that they don't, but that's a very severe case. They're considered like autistic in a way. But we're not going to get into it. Which again, you don't have that problem. What? Understand? Now, what is this book? This book that I wanted to start learning was these 10 sfirot, these 10 characteristics, these traits, to show them in us how we have it. I made even booklets about it. I went out of my time to go to the printing store and I created booklets. Why? Just because of this. I think now we can start. Where's Eliezer?
You know the
Huh? Shh!
mother's birthday.
His mother's birthday.
Yeah.
Okay. Happy birthday to her. You have to say. Yeah, has the mitzvah of kibud avayim? I was just gonna finish the shiur, to tell you the truth. But maybe we can do something small later. Just us. You're saying the shiur just started right now. Okay. Yoshua, remember this book I gave to you when your graduation?
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do is I wanted to start learning it.
It's an interesting book.
It's very interesting. I made copies for everyone. About Chokhmah. You know what Chokhmah is?
Yeah. But wisdom.
What about it?
It's the raw idea of something.
How do you know if someone has a raw idea or not?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
How do you know if someone has a raw idea or not?
If he's creative.
Creativity, you telling me?
Like if you do something repetitively, that means...
No. You're telling me stuff that's already written in the book. You're being repetitive. You have no Chokhmah. I ask you right now, what is Chokhmah?
Creativity.
Creativity. Not exactly.
No.
Not exactly. But, should we do a little bit today?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Should we get into the... in the lecture? You ready? How are you, Mr. Neria? Good. Maybe take some pizza?
I'm okay. I need actually. So
Oh wow, chazakata, chazak. Okay, let's go. We'll give out these sheets. Give me something. Sit down, guys. Sit down. Here, come. Man that claims he has no feelings.
I never said that.
Josh, you know, he said he don't want to do it, just do it. You guys want to hear him?
Guys, please don't eat, drool, or spit on these booklets.
Do we have to say
What about a jewel on it, okay, Rob?
Actually, we have to give them
Yes.
We should do
No, it's fine.
It's better, no? Yeah, way better.
How many minutes is this recording already?
56.
Okay, let's close it. We're gonna start it. We're gonna start a new.
You want to start another one?
Wait.